Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Brunswick. My name is Shannon Gilmore, and I am a member of the Board of Trustees. Today's service, Continuous Gratitude, is being led by our sexton of 9 years, Tony Sulkoski. This year, Tony is celebrating 35 years of sobriety, and in his reflection, he will talk about how he overcame addiction and learned to love life and experience continuous gratitude. Next Sunday, August 16th, our new intern minister, Reverend Justine Sullivan, will be leading her first service with UUCB. We hope you can make it. It's my pleasure to welcome you today. I hope you enjoy the service.
Hi, I'm Tony Sulkoski, and I've been a sexton here at Unitarian Church for approximately 7 years. And I was asked to do a church service for August 9th, and I said yes. I have done a service prior in the Bath, when we were over in Bath before the church was built as a synagogue. And what I will share with you is my journey. I'll give you a little bit of my background as far as my work and stuff. I retired from the Massachusetts Corrections back in 2008. And moved up to Maine. I have grandchildren up here and a couple sons. And then I applied for the job here. And I've been here ever since and enjoyed it very, very much.
My daddy, he plays rock and roll. He goes, doo-wah, doo-wah, oh bless my soul. It was Friday evening and Dad was in a sparky mood. Empty beer bottles and Dad's pals fought for space around the table. When I looked in, Dad gave me a funny, boozy smile. I like Dad when he's jolly, but I don't like him when he is boozy and silly. But that's how he always ends up on Friday nights when all the singing and joking stop and his pals pile out the front door. My dad says I have a good ear for music. I've learned a few strumming chords from him that I can turn into songs on the guitar he made for me. My dad is very good with his hands. He can saw through lumber as easily as cutting through a chunk of bread. I often watch him work as he turns out all kinds of things, like the fancy stand he made for Mom's special ornaments. The smell of wood glue, sawdust, and Dad fills the little backyard and shed on warm summer days. The only problem with Dad's woodwork is this. If anyone says anything nice about it, Dad insists on giving the piece to the person. Mom has to bite her tongue as things are carried out of the house, especially on Friday nights. Lying in the dark on Friday nights, Gracie and I often hear Mom and Dad arguing. Gracie and I like putting on a show. She dances and I play my guitar and sing. Dad is very proud of us. He said that Gracie is the apple of his eye and that I'm his sonny boy. He says he'd be lost without us. How much do you love us? Gracie once asked. More than all the tea in China, Dad answered. More than all the booze in a bottle, I asked. I meant it as a joke, but Dad looked sad and angry. Later, I found him in his shed. He was hammering a nail into a piece of wood as though it needed punishing. Dad, I said nervously, I'm sorry about what I said. Dad stopped banging, and then a terrible thing happened. He started to cry. It was horrible. I didn't know a dad could cry like that. It was like the sky breaking open. There were so many tears, it scared me. I won't tell, Dad, I won't tell. That's all I could say. Mr. Dickey, our music teacher, has asked Gracie and me to do something on a Friday night school concert. We rehearse at home day after school, but as soon as we hear Dad's hand touch the front door, we stop. We don't want our school to see what Dad is like on Friday nights, so we don't want Dad to know about our concert. And Dad's drinking seems to be getting worse. He and Mom argue almost every night. One night, Gracie and I woke up to loud voices in the kitchen. We got up and slowly walked down the dark hall. In the glare of the kitchen light, we saw Mom and Dad fighting over a bottle. Mom was trying to empty the bottle into the sink while Dad kept shouting, I'm not an alcoholic, I'm not an alcoholic. When we were back in bed, Mom tucked us in. What's an alcoholic, Mom? I asked. It's someone who should never drink alcohol because it harms them and their family. Is Dad like that? Asked Gracie in a frightened voice. I think he is, said Mom, but I don't want you to worry about it. But I was worried. I had a dad who was an alcoholic. On the night of the concert, we left for school before Dad got home. Backstage, Mom wished us luck. It was great being on the stage. I could feel we were doing okay, but as Gracie was dancing across the stage to my last verse, a loud voice shook up the hall. That's my boy. It was Dad. Somehow he found out about us. Show them, kids, you show them. His voice thrashed recklessly around the hall. My fingers went limp and lost their grip on the neck of my guitar. The music withered as the words of the song seemed to sink into my stomach. Gracie's footsteps faltered, and then she froze. Tears glimmered in the corners of her eyes as she stood with her toes pointing nowhere. I took her hand and led her off the stage. The only words left in my head were, I hate him. Dad was driven home by Mr. Dickey while Mom, Gracie, and I walked. Mom kept saying, we need help. We really need help. Gracie and I didn't talk, but I could feel our thoughts, and they were cold and lonely. Since then, when we're home, Gracie and I just hang around feeling down. I pick up my guitar and start to play. My daddy's like a guitar that's lost its shine. All out of tune and all out of time. Maybe it was a hate for Dad's drinking. Maybe it was our love for Dad. Or perhaps it was something Mr. Dickey said to Dad as they drove home that night after the school concert. But something good happened soon afterwards. And instead of drinking with his buddies, Dad started going with Mr. Dickey to a place where alcoholics meet and help each other. Mom told us about Mr. Dickey once had a drinking problem that led him to the AA meetings. She explained that AA stands for Alcoholics Anonymous. Now it looks as though Dad is planning to join AA. Mom said it's going to take a long time for Daddy to beat the booze. And in the meantime, he's going to need all our love and support. Dad says he is sorry he has brought so much darkness into our home now that he knows he is sick and an alcoholic. He wants to get better. Like Mr. Dickey, Mom puts her arms around his shoulders. It's like finding out what the most important thing in my life, Dad says, and that he reaches out to us.
As long as I have breath, I must answer yes to life. Though with pain I made my way, still with hope I meet each day. If they ask what I did well, tell them I said yes to life. As long as vision lasts, I must answer yes to truth. In my dream and in my dark, always that elusive spark. If they ask what I did well, tell them I said yes to truth. As long as my heart beats, I must answer yes to love. Disappointment pierced me through, still I kept on loving you. If they ask what I did best, tell them I said yes to love. As long as I have breath, I must answer yes to life. Though with pain I made my way, still with hope I meet each day. If they ask what I did well, tell them I said yes to life.
I'll share a little bit of my background of how I started and my journey. And in my early 20s, I got involved with the alcohol and everything else that went a little bit apart back in the 70s and 80s. And that's what we did. Alcoholism ran rampant in my family on my dad's side. Mom's side was complete sobriety. And needless to say, I inherited everything on dad's side. And it took everything. The first marriage, the child, the house. Like alcoholism does, it takes everything, unbeknown to me. And with that, I finally, in the town I came from, people saw a little more in me than I saw. And the judge used to say, I'm going to send you into treatment because I feel that you're a good guy, you're worth saving, and that's the way. Or you can go to jail for all your DUIs and all your fights and everything else I get into. And with that, I got sentenced to 9 months in Longwood Treatment Center in Boston, Mass. And it was the best thing ever happened to me. Judge Strogoff saved my life, and the treatment center saved my life. At that time, I was 30 years old, and 9 years of hard drinking and losing everything. But when I left there, I had a new life that I had to start, and I didn't know what was going to happen because here I am, stone sober, for the first time in 11 years, and not knowing what to do, where to go. I went back to my town where I came from, and I had a choice. I had some money because you had work release and stuff like that in the treatment program, and it was a very intense program. And I had the money there, and I'm going, what do I do? I got on a bus, and like I said, I came home, went to an A meeting. And I'll never forget it. We used to call it a Loony Noonie at noontime at the center in Clinton, Mass. And I come in, it was like I was there forever. You know, they welcomed me. Everybody knew where I was, except I thought I was hiding in Boston, Mass, and I really wasn't. You know, everybody knew. All the people who cared about me, and all the other brother alcoholics and sister alcoholics knew where I was. And that was the beginning of my journey. And from that point on, one day at a time, to this day, I've got 35 years of sobriety in December. And I'm always grateful. And like I said, a continuous gratitude for everything I've got. Without AA became my family in more ways than one. There's a trifold disease of, you know, the body, the mind, the soul. But I learned, and everything I've learned in AA has been from people who've already walked through it. It's not easy. I don't lie about that. It's not easy. It's what you want to do. It's very challenging because you have to leave everything behind. Your playmates, everything. And family too, because I just couldn't be around it. And it costs because other people who are not alcoholics do not understand an alcoholic, and they get an attitude like, you're better than me, blah, blah, blah. That's not the case. The case is I got to do what's good for me, which was laid out for me. And my first sponsor told me, God rest his soul, John T. said, you got one day at a time, T, and you got to live it. And to the best of your ability, and be the best guy you can be. I was taught to get down on my prayer knuckles in the morning. I was taught to get down on my prayer knuckles at night and just say thank you. Whoever it may be, I choose to call God my higher power, but it could be any higher power. And it was so rewarding because if I forgot to do it, I jump out of bed and do it because I wanted to stay sober more than I wanted to get alcohol put back in my system. My life slowly got better. I got a good job. I took my civil service test in Massachusetts, and I got to go in the Department of Corrections. I had a great career. I had 21 years, and I left there, and I have no regrets at all. I did it all sober, whereas I got to work the stress unit there for a little while. I got to incorporate not all the negativity, but a lot of positive stuff because I got to do AA meetings in there. I got to do a stress unit with brother officers who had a problem. And until I said, I can't do this anymore. But it was nice to be able to give this back. So there is parts of that type of job that is rewarding if you choose to look for it. If you don't look for it, you don't get it. And a lot of it, like I said, was very rewarding. But I'll share a point with you that really, it does hit home a lot. And Judge Strogoff, God rest his soul, he's the one who who sentenced me. And again, when you're under the influence of alcoholism and you're a mess, a guy like him, you don't know. He used to come to the meetings and every noontime almost and sit there, and he had the old soft hat, and he'd take his hat off and he'd sit there. So finally one day, I don't know how long it was, but I finally got enough gall to say, Your Honor, he was outside, and I says, why do you come to these meetings? I don't think you're an alcoholic. I says, and he looked at me and he says, Tony, I sit on that bench day in and day out. I hear nothing but lies. Everybody trying to BS me. I come to an AA meeting, I get nothing but the truth. And he put his hat on and walked away. It's amazing how that sticks with me because it is so true. And there's sayings like in AA, to thine own self be true. If I'm not true to myself and I don't look in the mirror and say, take care of yourself, whatever, I'm no good to anybody else. And I know that. This disease does not go away. It's with you forever. You take it to the grave with you. How you deal with it, you know, I know people who can stay sober, and I know people who can't stay sober. I've been one of the fortunate ones. I want to stay sober more than drink. And I think the biggest challenge was about, it'll be 4 years in December I got diagnosed with lung cancer. And luckily it was in the lower lobe and early COPD. And I was never sick a day in my life in sobriety, so I didn't know what I didn't know. I've had nothing but the best care up here in Maine. My pulmonologist, my oncologist, my general practitioner, my heart doctor. I mean, I got a whole stable of great doctors who've taken care of me. And I'm nobody special, but the care up here is fantastic. And they found it. They made a choice when they went in. They could have taken part of my lung, But the surgeon said if he took it, my quality of life wouldn't have been good at all, like anything else, even though I'm in good shape. So we chemoed, we radiated, and so far I've been in remission, and I do scans every 6 months. The hardest part of that was accepting it, and how do I deal with it? Because now I got another disease. Now I got two I got to deal with. And it was overwhelming for a while. I have a mug that I got in 1985 from the treatment center. And I've had that with me forever. And I went down the river and I was going to drink. There was no ifs, ands, or buts. I thought I was going to die. And that's what alcoholism does. Just like that, I was back to square one. But I sat there and I did what I was told. I called my sponsor in Massachusetts and I said, Bernie, I just got diagnosed. I want to know what I should do. I want you to have this mug because I don't know if I'm ever coming back. I have another drunk in me. I don't know if I have another recovery. He said, Tony, wait, how bad is it? I said, I don't know how bad it is. I just know I had a scan and I got lung cancer. He goes, don't go out there. Don't go drinking, because if they can fix you and give you some more quality of life, then you have two problems. You're going to be upset with yourself that you went out and drank, all right, because you lost all your sobriety and everybody around you. And then you're going to be upset too because now you're in remission. He says, so your problem's going to get worse. Nothing gets better. So he said, just wait. I had to hear that. That's what AA is about. People helping people. And that's exactly what happened. And I didn't drink. I went back home and I said, okay, I'll listen to him. He's been around me 14 years. He kind of knows me. And I'm talking to myself, like, which you normally do anyway. And here I sit still sober because I did what I was taught. It was close. It was real close. And I did get scared because I didn't want to lose everything. I mean, when I got into remission with that and I got to come to meetings and everything, again, my AA family was here. My regular family wasn't here, but they haven't been here for 35 years. So, it's life. Life goes on. I look at what I got now. I'm so grateful. And my gratification is unbelievable for my life because I met great people here in the church. I've got a great job at what I do. All right. I never thought it'd be this good. But it's a plus to have people like you around me and the church organization, because I look around and saying, this is great. This is how life should be. This is nice. And mean it and care. And these people, I can call anyone that I know and they'll answer me, and it's great. So, being grateful every day in, day out for my life, it's a special thing, but it's not just because of me. It's because how I surround myself with people, what I do with people. And I don't look for instant gratification, and I don't look for praise. I don't look for anything. I just look to be me, stay what I am, because I don't want to change. You people in this church have been so good to me, and why go looking for anything else? I'm at peace, and I'm loving every minute of it. I've never had this in my life.
Give thanks for the corn and the wheat that are reaped, for the labor well done, and for barns that are heaped, for the sun and the dew and the sweet honeycomb, for the rose and the song and the harvest brought home. Give thanks for the mills and the farms of our land, for craft and the strength in the work of our hands, for the beauty our artists and poets have wrought, for the hope and affection our friendships have bought. Give thanks for the homes that with kindness are blessed, for seasons of plenty and well-deserved rest, for our country extending from sea unto sea, for ways that have made it land for the free. Give thanks for the corn and the wheat that are reaped, for labor well done, and for barns that are heaped, for the sun and the dew and the sweet honeycomb, for the rose and the song and the harvest brought home, for the harvest brought home, for the harvest brought home.
And again, I would just like to say, and I'm going to end it with the Serenity prayer. Thank you all for what you do. Power of example is an unbelievable thing, and that's how I live my life, one day at a time. And with that, I'll conclude the Serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And thank you very much.